Hello, this is episode 2 of my inexpensive static display BB-8 build. In this video we'll be picking up where we left off last time, which is with the head. We're going to start off with these templates that I have designed, and you just print those out and cut them out and stick them together, and they're conveniently marked which bits join onto which other bits. So B goes on B, A goes on A, and that'd be one big piece, etc, etc. But you don't need to watch me doing that, because cutting out bits of paper and then taping them together is pretty boring. So I'm going to do that and I'll show you what they look like when they're all together. Right, just draw around all those pieces that I've cut out and stuck together. This really long skinny bit wouldn't fit on the mat hole, so I've left that in 2 halves. And I've also left a big strip down here because we're going to need an extra piece. We're going to need a 15mm very long strip to go around the bottom of the head. So you're probably going to need to cut 2 of those out. There's not a template for that, because frankly, if you can't cut 2 straight lines right next to each other, then you shouldn't really be playing with knives and foam and things, should you? So I'm going to cut these out and then we're going to start sticking it together. Right, so them all cut out. First thing to do is to stick those 2 really long pieces together. And then we're going to curve all these pieces. So we're going to start off with a bit right at the top. We're going to heat the back of that. We'll give it a slight curve. So take that 4 again. Ever so slight curve. We don't want too much. Just like that. Put that on one side. The next layer will be this bit. Curve that round. Just so it holds its shape. We'll glue that in a minute. Make sure it's going to fit first. Same with this piece. And that's the basis for our head. So we just need to stick all those together, starting with the top and working our way down. Now you might be thinking, oh no, it's going to have all sorts of stupid seams on it, it's going to look stupid. But it's not, because I've designed this in such a way that the seams are where the panel lines go, just like on the body. So the only horrible seams that you're not really going to want are the ones with the halves joined up together. So we're going to make that the back of the head, and the bottom there where it's got 2 seams, we're going to make that the sides. So that way from the front at least, it's going to be virtually seamless. That's only going to be at the back where you can see those. But that can't be helped. So we're going to stick those together. Firstly, we're going to glue those joints together. Right, so now we've got all these stuck together, we're going to start gluing them. It's going to go in here, and just as before, if it doesn't quite fit, we'll use a bit of heat. I'm just pinching the top and the bottom of this together to give it a bit of a curve. Doesn't need a lot. That should fit in there a bit better. And it does. Now you might be tempted to just go glue, slap it in, but then it might all go wrong. So it's better to do a little bit at a time. So I'm going to start where this joint is here. A little bit of glue, a little bit of tape. And do the same thing to the other side. Want these panels to be as flat as possible. You don't want there to be any lumps or bumps or any step ups where they're not quite stuck. You wouldn't want that, for example. You wouldn't want it to be sunk in either. So it's better to take your time. Always make sure you've got lots of tape ready cut to hand. So you can hold one bit or multiple bits where you hold another bit. So I'm confident that we can do the whole of that half now. I think when working with hot glue and foam, 6 inches or so is pretty much the limit. You try doing a seam any longer than that, and by the time you get to the last bit, the glue's already cooled down and isn't sticky anymore. Make sure you cover the whole seam for the same reason as when we did the body, and that when we finish this, we're going to want to heat it from the inside and bend it a bit. So if you haven't stuck your seams together with tape, they might split open. So now we've done this piece, we need to now work down to the next layer. The next bit is this piece. So we're going to want that seam there to line up with this seam, so all the seams are on one side. And I'm just going to repeat the process for this piece, starting front and back, then working round, and then when we come to this piece here, we're probably going to do front, back, side, side, and then do it in quarters. Same with the last piece, and then you'll be finished with one dome for the head. Okay, so we've got our head, and it needs a little neck now. So what we're going to use for that is draw around this again to get a circle, same size as we did for the body panels. I've taken something smaller, which is a cake tin, and put that right in the middle and draw around that as well, which will leave like a big donut, I guess, once I cut the middle out, and that's 1.5 inches thick. So we're not going to cut that out yet. First we're going to curve it, and we're going to do it exactly the same way as we did before with the heat gun. And then I'll push that into my colander again, just as I did with the body panels. There you go. So we've got a little curvy thing. There we go on the bottom there. Okay, don't worry if it doesn't line up exactly right just yet. First thing to do is to take a very sharp knife and this won't sit flat. You can see on my table it's not sitting flat, there's a gap around here, and that would also happen if we put it on here. It's not going to sit flat. So what we're going to need to do is trim the bottom edge of this. So take a very sharp knife. Be careful you don't go so far that you ruin this clean edge. There you go. And now that sits a lot flatter to my table, and that will sit a lot flatter to the BB-8 head. Now that line that we marked out earlier, we're now going to cut that off. Don't worry if you press down and make this flat as you're cutting it, because it will spring back to where it was. So just going to take a knife around that line. And then we're left with that. A little foam donut. And that should go on there. Now if it's not bang on perfectly lined up, then you just need to either pull it out a bit or squish it a bit, and then it will be. But that looks to be pretty spot on. So first of all, I'm going to make sure there's no tape along this bottom edge, and then we're going to glue that down. Right, let's stick that neck on. Take some hot glue. Down first, then we're going to take the opposite end. And then we're going to do the same for the corners, and then just like how we stuck the body together, we're going to gradually work our way around until that's stuck on. Right, it's now got a neck, so we've got to get all this tape off now, and the easy way to do that is with a heat gun. If you start peeling it off, not only is it hard to get off, but you might tear your foam as well, so heat the tape and it softens the adhesive. there's the head all done, all the tape's off. Now we've got a slight problem of some of the glue has kind of spilled out of the seams there and it's sat on the surface. The easiest way to get that off is with a really tiny little file. The teeth on this aren't that coarse. You don't want to damage the foam too much, but they're just enough to take that glue off. So I'm just going to go around, starting on this ring and then the next ring and so on until I've got all the glue off so the seams look really nice. Right, it's time to add the final little details to the head. Now it's got the neck on it. And there's no real easy way of doing this other than looking at a bunch of images on Google or using some sort of model like this cuddly toy here, and so you can get a good 360 view and then plotting out where these are all going to go just by eye. So I started using my really sharp knife to score in some of the details here and around here as well. Taking a tiny bit of plastic pipe I had laying around, made a little thin foam sleeve for it. I then used this and literally just drilled it into the foam to make that hole in the front. And this is like his little, I don't know, it's not his eye, I don't know what it is, it's his little sticky outy, lighty thingy, whatever the hell that is, which goes down there. And then there's an eye, and for the eye I used, where did I put it? Oh, here we go, I used one of these. This is a large Christmas bauble. It's, how big is that one? It's a big beast. This one is 10 centimeters in diameter. I didn't use the whole thing because it's too big. Maybe I could have got a smaller one, but I think that looks a lot too... I think having a whole half like that looks far too bulbous. So I've cut that down slightly and I've been left with this. And that has a lot slimmer profile and looks a bit better. So that's going to go on there like that. And I've cut that down to about, how big is that? About 8 centimeters. So that's going to go on there. And I've used some really thin foam. I've cut out this bit here. Just using pictures online as a guide, and that's going to wrap around the perimeter of the eye. And a template I've also made, which is this piece here. That's to go inside the eye. So I've cut this out of foam, so that's going to go there. And then the lens is going to go on top of that. There's going to be like an LED in there as well. And these are just rectangles I've cut out of paper, and they're 1 centimeter for the small ones, 6 centimeters long for the big ones, and I've just spaced those based on pictures I've got online and my teddy like soft toy there as well. I'm now going to mark those lines. Now all of these seams are actual panel lines, so you don't need to totally hide these, they just need to be neat. Like the little segments around this ring here, which is going to be silver. That's where it starts, that's where it stops. And likewise, these here at the bottom, the vertical lines go from the top of this line down to the bottom of this line, and they're going to be orange segments around there. So I'm going to continue marking on all of the detail lines using my knife, and then I'm going to get to gluing on the inside to the eye and stuff like that. I've added most of the details on. Need some antennas, so I'm using these paint brushes. They're about the right profile. I'm just going to stick them in there. Like that. I'm going to glue that bit of eye on. That's the eye detail. Let's make sure this still fits over. So the head's got all its details on now. Added the plastic lens thing there as well. I haven't glued that in just yet because I wanted to paint behind it, so that just pop out. Put that to one side, and I've used some bits of old plastic tub, like I think there's a little plastic container that held business cards. Cut some of that plastic up to make little lenses for the head here, and there's going to be lights on the inside behind those. These are my 2 paint brushes I've just pushed fit in for now, and I've gone ahead and used the same method that I used to take all the tape off with that and then file in all the glue down. I've done that to the body, and we're left with this. Cut a little axis hole in the top there in one of the triangle pieces, not the circle pieces, and the head will sit over that, and the whole thing looks pretty cool. So BB-8 is now built and just needs a bit of paint and some lights, so we'll be saving that for episode 3, so make sure you subscribe to this YouTube channel for updates on that and also for future projects. Thanks for watching, bye bye!